What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tuck Rule Takes. The Tuck Rule boys, we are back. They are us. We are them. Mike Sullivan here, as always, with my trusty Patriots partner, Patriots pal, Liam. Liam, how you doing, buddy?
I am a lot better than I was yesterday. That's for damn sure.
You and me both.
Held up in my humble abode, which is a hotel room, because I may have Rona. Probably don't. But
That's fine. Now, I got it twice. You know, it's one of those things. You just got to keep building up the immunity to it.
yeah, this would be my second time. So if we do, then it's just another thing we have in common.
Yeah, and then you're good to go. And then once you build all that up, boom, you can just go out there, no mask, no nothing. Have people cough right in your face. You're good
That's
to go.
my idea. Go around licking every doorknob in town.
All right, yeah. You know, it's funny you bring that up. I wanted to go lick a gun barrel last night because what?
That was alarming, but yeah.
Yeah, I realized I was texting people. I was like, I'm gonna assassinate myself if they lose this fucking game. And guess what, friends? They lost the game. 1917. It was, in case you don't know what we're talking about, Bucs Patriots played. Really good game. I thought it was.
You don't know what we're talking about? There's something up.
I don't. Yeah, like if you don't know, first of all, why are you even listening to a Tuck Rule Takes podcast?
TRT, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way, Couch Guy Sports, again, thank you very much for giving us the platform to vent our frustrations. Nice little therapy session that we have. I feel like each week following these games, and just seeing how the season's going, I feel like we're going to need these therapy sessions more and more. But like I said, 1917 they lost. There's a lot to talk about. I kind of want to talk about some pregame stuff before we actually get into the game. The build up to this game, what did you think? Because it annoyed the ever-living shit out of
me. It was all parts frustrating. It was a lot of people, mostly Patriots fans, that are like, the score is going to be 50-14 Buccaneers. Like, it's going to be an ass kick, and Tom Brady's going to come in here and lay hell, fury, and waste upon the entire team. And I was just like, everyone's opinions were just so one-sided. Like, they heard somebody say it once, like, oh, Tom Brady's going to kill him, and then everyone just followed that opinion. And it's like, you don't remember that there was another person that helped build this dynasty, and no one apparently gives a shit.
Oh, was there? Was it? Who? I didn't know.
It was actually this grizzly old guy by the name of Bill Belichick. Ever heard?
No way. I was told that it was just the Tom Brady show for 20 years. That was my impression.
That seems to be most people's impression, and I am here to say that I had more faith in what Billy B can do than what old Tommy Two Shoes can do in this game. I just think the disrespect was so one-sided, and everything was about Tom Brady, because obviously he just won a Super Bowl, so everyone's talking about Tom this, fucking he's going to come in here, 9 touchdowns. No, he's not.
He threw 7.
Boom. And it was just so frustrating that everyone just jumps on the bandwagon. Patriots fans are so willing to condemn their own team for some dude that left you.
We touched on it last week. I think we said the same thing, where it was like, it's going to get to the point where Brady is going to retire. And I think you even said it when I was listening to it back. I kind of laughed because you were like, you're going to be sitting there in a room with Belichick, and you're going to be staring at him, and you'd be like, hey, so you want to bring us some more Super Bowls?
Yeah.
It's like, nope, because you fucking turned on us before. Like you said, the weird part was it was a lot of Patriots fans wearing that stupid fucking double jersey.
Yeah, it's just so egregious. Like, people get too caught up in the people who actually play the game and not who, like, make the players do what they're supposed to do, who teach them the plays, give them the offense, and overall run the game. And it's just like, obviously Tom Brady has a tremendous impact on any game. That's not what I'm saying. But Bill draws up this defensive scheme, this defensive stud. He's the overall guy that makes the Patriots engine run over the last 20 years. And people are so quick to throw him to the side. It's like,
so quick.
You're married to Bill. Bill is your grizzled, not so charming, a little touchy wife. And Tom is the side piece that you've had for a while. And you've been slam piecing the side piece for a good long time. You're going 20 years not getting caught, no problem. Boom, shit hits the fan. The side piece wants nothing to do with you anymore. And the grizzled veteran wife is willing to stay with you despite the troubles. And you know what everyone does? They get hung up on the broad that left.
What a metaphor. And you know what? It kind of fits, because that's just it. You had everybody talking, and it was like, it's like, oh, Brady's homecoming, Brady's revenge game. I don't know what revenge he was getting. The dude went to 9 Super Bowls.
He shouldn't be mad about anything.
What's the revenge? That's like, Liam, that's like me and you having a tremendous podcast life together. Then all of a sudden you leave, to go to a different podcast.
Yeah.
And then you come back on my podcast. Yeah. And then you come back and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk shit about, there's no revenge.
I'm openly making fun of you. It's like, no, that's just unrealistic.
No.
It would never happen.
No.
People aren't like that.
No, people aren't. And I think what I don't want to jump around too much, but I think what we learned at the end of this game, it's kind of proof positive that this narrative where Belichick and Brady hated each other. Don't get me wrong. There was definitely some tension. Of course there is. You're with someone for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just how it is. But the whole, like, Brady wanted to come back and shove it. It was a personal hatred thing. No, it fucking wasn't. It was never that. It never was. Ever.
And I get, like, maybe the competitive aspect. Like, they're talking about, like, obviously Tom Brady wants to come back and beat his old team. We're not talking about that because he wants to win every game. He probably wanted to win this one more than most other ones. Probably didn't want to win it as much as most Super Bowls, but he still wanted to win like anything else. But he's not like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to embarrass all my former teammates. No, he likes them. He likes his old head coach. And unlike most real-life stories, this one has a happy ending.
Yeah, and it did. So, I kind of want to get, right into kickoff. They do the little 1-minute video thing. I saw it. They released it online. It was all right. Nothing crazy. Did a little thing. Brady came running out. Everybody cheered him, which it was like, all right. Right then, I saw everybody cheer, and I was like, please tell me this isn't how it's going to be the whole game, where, it's going to be cheers. It's going to be like you're rooting for two Patriots teams. When Brady took the field for the first time in the actual game, I don't know if you heard, which I'm sure you did, he got booed.
Yeah.
And it made me smile because I think what it was, I think Brady understood it too. They weren't booing because they hated. It was just one of those things. I think it was just like, yeah, we're going to boo you because you left. I don't think there was any real hatred there because the same people that were booing him were the same people that were cheering.
Yeah. Everyone still loves Tom Brady and doing it.
Of course. And that's I feel like that's what kind of, after we did our last podcast, I feel like a lot of people thought that we maybe don't like Brady. We hate him. No, that's not it at all. It's like, I'm indifferent on him right now because he's still in the league. When he retires, it's all pretty much going to go right back to normal. I mean, like he's not in the league anymore. I'm going to love him. But as
you're a better guy than I am because I'm like, fuck him.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I feel about Gronk. I will never feel the same way about Gronk.
I hate
that
Gronk.
dude.
I hate Gronk.
One thing with Gronk, and I don't know if this is the same for you. I'm a big professional wrestling WWE fan, WWF. He went to WWE and made a mockery of that and then left. It was kind of one of those things where
I've heard about it. I don't watch wrestling. But
yeah, it's just, I mean, obviously it's scripted, all that stuff, but there's still some sort of ounce of respect you got to have as an outsider coming in, which Ronda Rousey did. A lot of people. Cain Velasquez came in. A lot of people have respect for it. He came in, disrespected it, and left. That was some bullshit. So either way, I'm out on Gronk. He was at this game because the dude punctured a lung, fractured ribs, cracked ribs, all that shit. So yeah, I think kind of to wrap up the pregame stuff, I was happy they cheered him. I was even happier that they booed.
Yeah, see, I didn't catch the beginning of the game. I got it like 3 plays in, so I didn't see any of the pregame. I was on a goddamn flight. But I went back and watched the highlights. Obviously, they don't show the pregame in that, but that was the big talk. And any Patriots fan page, all of my friends were like, they booed Brady. Good for that.
Yeah, and it was good. Like I said, I think it was one of those things where there wasn't that much hatred at all. It was nice to see. I was happy they booed him. So I think we should start the game kind of. I think the last couple weeks, this is episode 11, by the way. I haven't been saying the numbers of the episode. We've done 11 episodes. That's crazy.
Yeah, holy shit.
Anyway, but yeah, I think we should start the game how we've started the last few weeks. I think we should start with Mac Jones. I feel like that's where we've kind of brought up. Mac Jones, good game. I don't want to say great, but it was a pretty good game. He was 31 of 40, 275 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. That I know you can't take a pick off someone's resume, but you can still put this one on him. But if you watch the play, it hit Aguilar. It was a great throw for what it was. The ball's wet. Who knows? It was going to be a tough catch. Bounced off his hands, went into the defender's hands. Whatever. Still a pick regardless. Good game by him. He set the NFL record for 19 completions in a row.
Yeah.
Fucking
Again, though,
wild.
I take it with a grain of salt because he was firing in intermediate levels of the field. It was short passes and intermediate. It wasn't anything crazy, but 19 passes is still 19 passes in the league.
Yeah,
that's fucking hard.
That's the thing. Because even though, like you said, I mean, a lot of them definitely were, 10 yards, little less, little more. But because I was driving home today, I was having this conversation with myself, kind of like getting ready to talk on the podcast, and I was like rebuttaling myself. So I was like, well, you know what I would say to that? If it's that easy, why doesn't every court, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, yeah, sure, it wasn't, all 15, 20 yards, but still, for a rookie in his fourth game, in an atmosphere that was Super Bowl-like by people at the game and the teams and everything, for him to kind of, step up to that, that pressure that was on him, 19 completions, it was still impressive.
And overall, he threw the ball 40 times. That's a lot. We talk about Trevor Lawrence.
That's
really, really efficient. But I do have some concerns with Mac after this game.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it because I have some good things to say. I mean, that was really. I mean, he threw the ball really well. I thought he's getting fucking slammed, and we'll talk about the O-line in a second. You got to fucking tighten that shit up. But what do you think? Do you have concerns with him, his talent, his skill? What are you thinking? Because I don't know.
There was just. I don't know if it's the whole he's under fire thing or maybe it's like rookie just getting used to it. But there were just a few reads that most successful quarterbacks wouldn't make the throw that he did or attempt the throw that he did, especially the biggest one that stuck out to me late in game. He's rolling right, so he's out of the pocket. There's no immediate pressure, but he's rolling out right. He knows he's got to get rid of the ball. There's a sideline. There are guys coming behind him. Space is condensed. And he throws it across his body. Instant no. Instant no.
Picked.
Unless you are Patty Mahomes or just Patty Mahomes, you don't throw across your body. Brett Favre got destroyed through his career trying to make these dumb plays across the middle, and it's just never advised by anyone. So he throws across his body directly into the arms of Devin White, and thank Christ he ended up dropping it.
Devin White wasn't expecting it, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
What?
He kind of and then it just went down, and thank God he was looking at, I think it was Jacoby Myers who was sitting on a curl route over the middle.
Yep.
And it was just one of those things where I think he was feeling the pressure and trying to get rid of it. Seeing ghosts a little bit when he could have taken his time, maybe look downfield. Hell, get to the sideline, throw the ball out of bounds.
Who knows? Yeah. I agree.
There could have been multiple other situations. So just that, I don't want to base it all on one play because for the most part, he threw the ball well. A couple of out routes that he nailed early in the game were a little suspect toward the end. Aguilar had a fumble catch on the left sideline, which I was like, oh my God.
I thought that was going to get picked and brought back pick six. I was like, oh.
The defender was right there. I was like,
but that in the replay, that was kind of on Aguilar too, they were saying, because he didn't completely come back.
That wasn't a fine throw, but it could have been better. It wasn't perfect. I think the mistake is always in the middle. So again, with Mac, it's all about ball placement, where you're putting it. Aguilar kind of had to make a good play for it. Even though he screwed it up, he ended up getting it back. It ended up being a first down. Everything was fine. But it's just like one of those things where maybe it's rookies and maybe I'm overreacting here, but I was just slightly concerned with the decision making, even his pick. I didn't love the play. I didn't love the throw. Yes. Yeah. Again, like you said, you may not think it's his fault. I think he shouldn't have even thrown that ball. There were multiple other options where I would have rather him squeezed it in and made that than, it in my eyes, it wasn't ideal for him. But then, like you said, 9 incompletions, 31 of 40. That's a damn efficient game. 275 yards is a lot of yards, even in a passing league. I'm used to the early 2000s style of football. So 200 yards is a good amount of yards, especially for a rookie. I will absolutely take that damn near 300 yards.
Yeah, it's good. And I think I share the same little bit of worry that you do, but I think I'm kind of chalking like the throw across his body. I'm chalking that up to he is still a rookie because I think the Patrick Mahomes of the world, I think that kind of jaded how everybody thinks rookies are going to come in and play.
Yeah.
I think we have to remember this is still his fourth game. again, it's not an excuse for him to make a bunch of mistakes and to his whatever. He hasn't made that many mistakes, but he is still showing that he's a rookie here and there. Like you said, that throw across the body. He is still, he never looks frazzled at all. I think it's just sometimes what throw he takes is what he just has to tighten up. That's what it seems like. I will say one thing: the dude moves in the pocket like a fucking 12-year vet. It is. I was watching with my in-laws, my wife, and everything. I turned over to my father-in-law and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, you would think that he's been in the league. Like, blitzers coming right in his face, sidesteps, steps up, hits Kendrick Bourne across the middle for 15.
That's the exact play I was thinking.
I knew it was.
Coming just a quick step, and he was out of the play. He was not making that play. He just stepped
like it was nothing. He stepped like it was nothing. Yeah. And then on the plays where he was throwing, on that pick, he got fucking drilled. Yes. And I'm not blaming the pick on that. I'm saying it more to say that he's standing in the pocket, which I guess it's something you like to see, because you got to think that the O-line is going to start protecting him at one point. It's nice to see, though, that he's not afraid to stand there, take the shot, and more often than not make the throw. But, yeah, I think overall Mac Jones still – I'm kind of waiting for – I don't know, call it – I don't know. I'm sitting there, waiting for him to fuck up and everything. Other than just, like, the minor decisions here and there, like, he hasn't had, like – I don't know. There's literally nothing. I know I say it every week. There's nothing that's made me worry about him being the franchise quarterback. If anything, coming out of this game, I'm like, yeah, buddy, like, I'm good with you for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah. And I feel somewhat similar. Like, he has the keys. It is definitely him. Like, There's no dispute. What am I going to say? Like, Jarrett Stidham? No.
I was just going to say Jarrett Stidham.
Everyone I know with the name Jarrett's a complete, utter failure. So, I'm sure he's no different. And I do not – obviously, he's not the answer. Cam's no longer there. It is Mac. It will be Mac for at least the next 3 years. And if we absolutely hate what we see there, I'm sure Bill will move on, kind of cut it. But he's a top pick.
Yeah.
And he was projected to maybe get taken by the 49ers at third. People were thinking they were traded up to take him. So he's our guy. I'm obviously riding with him. But I have some minor concerns, I guess, is what I would use.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, there's still concerns because you're just worried. You hope that he matures out of that. And I think by the end of the season, I think a lot of the concerns we have are going to be ironed out by him. Yeah. So, Mac, obviously, we talked about him. He's good. What I really like to see, and I mentioned it to you before we started the podcast, he spread the ball around a lot. You had Jacoby Myers, 8 catches for 70 yards. Kendrick Bourne, 5 for 58. Nellyville, 3 for 55. Brandon fucking Bolden, 6 for 51.
Loving it.
Hunter Henry, 4 for 32. Yardage is whatever, but 4 catches. That's what he's getting involved. Yep. Damian Harris, 2 for 30, and Jonnu Smith was 3 for 14, but he had the touchdown.
Yep.
So, it's kind of in our Lord and Savior, N'Keal Harry, 1 catch for 10 yards. I hope, we're not going to talk about Harry because I don't want to waste time on him, but I hope he comes back to be something. Those 2 parts of the offense, the receivers and the tight ends, and Mac Jones, I was impressed. I think that offense right there, you can win with them. The part that is, I'm on my last straw with it, is the offensive line.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I understand this is a position group where if one person goes out, you're not used to playing with the other person, then you start rotating. I get that. And that only gives you so much leeway, though. You cannot let your rookie quarterback get hit 12 times. He's been hit 29 times this season, which I think once all the stats update, that'll be first in the league. 29 times. He got sacked 4 times on Sunday. You can't do that. You can't do that.
And the Bucs defense isn't good, which maybe you could chalk that up to him having the 275 yards, but they are really not that good of a defense. Their strength would be the pass rush, and even then their best pass rusher, JPP, the man, even though I fucking hate him as a Patriots fan, he's a damn good player. He was out. Yeah, he was out. Yeah, I know, seriously. And friggin' So I thought this would be a good game. Like, he wasn't going to get sacked much. And then
Dude,
as the game's going on, I'm like, oh my God, it's exactly like the last fucking 3 games.
Dude, once I saw that Trent Brown was out, which again,
That was shitty.
I'm still confident that Brown's going to come back probably next week or the week after because there's no reports saying otherwise. It's always he's close. So I think what they're doing is they don't want to rush him back because I think you can see how important he is. I think if I'm going to make my thing, I bet he comes back week 6 or the same time that Gilmore comes back. I think that's when they
sounds like week 6 is an easy dub if that's the case.
Well, I mean, we're playing the Cowboys, so it's going to be easy regardless. Yeah, America's fake ass team. But yeah, again, the offensive line, you gotta protect them. I was happy with the running backs blocking the blitz, but I mean that can only help so much. You can't. If Mac Jones is going to be the guy, you got to protect him. I'll give you one more game without Trent Brown or even with Trent Brown and things start to suck, but you have to protect him. You have to. And I think once you get Trent Brown back and everything and, the line starts to jive, you can get back to running the ball because, Liam, the New England Patriots tallied a whopping total of -1 yards. Now, before I pass the ball to you, the Bucs do have an elite rush defense. In fact, when the Cowboys played them, they didn't run at all. Yeah. And they have Zeke Elliott
too. So
he's better than what the Patriots have at least. And again, so and I wrote a little grading system on everything earlier today. Couch Guy Sports, go check it out. But I don't want to eviscerate the running game yet because they had a $125 to start, 101 in the next game. They had 49 yards against the Saints, but again, they were trying to throw their way back in there. So, okay, I'll give you the pass. But this game, though, I get the Bucs have a really, really good rush defense. But dude, -1 yards, come on.
And if we were down 21-3 at like halftime, then I completely understand just cutting out the run, throw our way back into the game. This was a 2-point game, didn't go over 20 points. So, like, what the hell is going on there? And I'm still like Josh McDaniels. I have and will continue to have a lot of confidence in his play calling and just this offense overall. But I have concerns that it is becoming fairly predictable, whether that's because of Mac's limitations as a rookie. But it seems like every pass play is working the intermediate middle of the field with Jacoby Myers or one of the tight ends, or working the outside on curl routes with either Bourne or Aguilar. And it's just kind of that same play over and over again. It's always deep over the middle when we need the 3rd and long. It's always the corners to start off after we try a run and fail. And it's just kind of like, you need to switch it up. This dude threw it deep all the time in college. I don't know what the exact problem is. We signed all these guys thinking Cam Newton was going to be our starter. Mm-hmm. And Cam has a cannon of an arm. People don't always agree with me, but he's jacked. His arm strength, I've seen it many a time. He can sling the ball deep. And I think we were kind of preparing for that offense, and so was Bill. And then we get this, and now we have to kind of taper it back a little bit. So I just have concerns kind of long-term about teams jumping out on that. I'm waiting for Mac to have one of those big games, like a 3-4 touchdown game, like a 200, 300-yard game with no picks, just something where he goes out there and crushes it. And I don't know if he can do that in an offense where the fucking deepest route the wide receivers are running are a 15-yard curl on the sidelines, which is an incredible route if used correctly and split up in between many other plays. But if you're running it consistently on all these downs, that's one of the most jumpable routes for a corner. Mm-hmm. And as somebody who wanted to play corner in high school but was way too big, that's money. You're salivating at the mouth seeing them do all these corner routes. And like you and me expressed, there was a concern that there was going to be a pick 6 on a corner route. It didn't happen. We got lucky this time. But there are many, many more games ahead of us where that could happen. And that could absolutely destroy our offense, destroy our momentum, and lose us a game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think and again, maybe it's just in my nature, I like to be, at least right now, until we'll see what happens at the end of the season. We'll see how I go into next year. But I do still like to give them the benefit of the doubt, like to be a little bit optimistic, because I think the Patriots have earned it. the way I'm looking at it, the only thing that because I agree with what you're saying. There's not that many routes that go past 20 yards. There really aren't. But the two things that I'll say that might be preventing them from going so deep. One, I mean, we talked about the O-line. Maybe,
Yep.
I mean, McDaniel sees his quarterback getting hit anyways. I mean, even if you got a route going out there, you may not have the protection for it. And then, McDaniels might say, you know what, instead of trying to get the big shot, let's just do, the 10, 15-yard plays.
But there are so many teams that have a shit offensive line that still threw it deep.
There are.
Kyler Murray in his rookie year, that offensive line was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Baker Mayfield had a terrible line for his first 2 years, and they still slung it deep. I get it. If you truly have no protection, you can't go deep. But you're going to get – I'd be hard-pressed to find 5 plays in this game where he had the amount of time to throw it deep. There just weren't route concepts to go deep, or if there were, they were either covered or he didn't look that way.
Yeah, probably not. And honestly, I can't say one way or another because I haven't, seen the film or whatever, but I would tend to agree with you. I think that it's a mix of a couple things. It's that I do think, like I said, first 4 weeks, it takes a while for things to get going. I get it, but now things got to start getting going, okay? No more excuses. The first 4 weeks are done. So that whole excuse that I used for you where, extended preseason, that's done now. You're going into week 5. You're going into week 5 against the Texans. We'll talk about it a little bit before we get out of here. But you should be able to that should be a get right game, a prove it game for you. So I think things have to start getting better. It's been 4 weeks now. Trent Brown isn't back. He'll be coming back, but you gotta figure it out. Like, I don't know what you have to do. That's not my job, but you have to figure it out because even though you almost beat the Bucs with those 10, 15-yard plays, a couple 25-yard plays here and there, that's not going to work every game because not every defense is going to have a porous, horrid, horrendous pass defense like the Bucs. So
and
I agree.
Teams are already scheming. Like, the way football works is not everyone is like Bill Belichick, where they just take it a week at a time. Like, I think the Bucs almost lost last week because they were kind of so hyped up about the Patriots that they were kind of looking forward. I think a lot of teams look forward to the bigger teams on the schedule. Like, say you're playing the Texans 1 week, but then the week after that you're playing the Rams or the Chiefs. I think for the most part, they're like, these plays are going to work against the Chiefs, so they'll work against the Texans. We got to do this, this, and this. The better teams require 2 weeks of preparation. There's a reason there's a huge week of nothing, the Pro Bowl, in between, the conference championship game and the Super Bowl. Like, teams need those extra times to prepare for the bigger teams. And if anyone is preparing for the Patriots ahead of time, they have 4 weeks of not a very impressive offense.
Yeah. Again, I think what you're saying is right. I think it just starting next week, I'm gonna be full bore. Listen, man, you got to get the offense into gear. I don't care what you have to do because, like you said, teams are gonna start scheming against you. They're gonna start crowded. They're gonna say, okay, hey, beat us deep because we know that you can't block. You have to start doing that. And like the trick plays are awesome. I love them, but you can't always count on them to bail you out.
And that was another thing I wanted to mention to you. Jacoby Myers throwing the ball twice. What looked like the longest goddamn play of the game to me was just throw it into N'Keal Harry. Of course, N'Keal Harry can't catch one from our quarterback. He can catch one from our goddamn wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
The offense, having the same wide receiver throw the ball twice in a game is, again, an ultimate no for me. Like, maybe it's so obvious that the defense wasn't expecting it because they'd be like, why would they do this again?
Yeah.
Trick plays don't get run twice in the same game. Not the same trick play, not a different trick play. I don't want to see a flea flicker, and then I don't want to see a wide receiver pass. And that's what happened in Tom Brady's last year is we were relying on all these really bad trick plays like Jacoby Myers throwing the ball to Edelman throwing the ball to somebody else.
Smoking mirrors.
Somebody else who throws it back to fucking James White. He runs it. It's just it's cool if you spice it in. The Patriots have done an exceptional job with that in the playoffs against the Ravens. The Edelman to Amendola touchdown, perfect timing.
I was at that game.
Oh, my God, I'm so jealous. That was a fantastic game. But perfect timing. They gave no hint of doing that in weeks prior to that and then just busted it out in one of the most important games and got a crucial score that won them the game. So it's one of those things where maybe it was so unpredictable that it was kind of worked, or maybe it was so I'm trying to figure out how I'm trying to word that there. But
no, I get it. Yeah.
Having your wide receiver throw the ball twice was so suspect to me. And I was like, please stop doing this. I can't have another of last year where everything's a fucking trick play.
Yeah, which I hope that's not it. It did look like on one of them, I don't know if it was the first or the second one, it looked like Myers had the option to run it because it kind of looked like he was genuinely looking
to. Throw back to Brandon Bolden?
But either way, you still – yeah, I think that was the one. Either way, though, like you said, like okay, cool. So, like, the trick play is awesome. If you want to pull them out, if you want to pull out 2 against the Bucs, try to beat them. It's a big game, statement, Super Bowl atmosphere, whatever, sure. I don't want to see any more moving on. I mean, like I told you, I'm the biggest fan in the world of the flea flicker. I don't want to see that until you need it or the playoffs. That's it.
Yeah, bust it out in, like, week 14 where it's some time from now. But then I'd be worried because then I don't want you doing it in the playoffs then if you did it so close to the playoffs. So it's one of those things where put some time in between it because other teams look at every fucking play that you do. They have a third down reel. They have a first down reel, a second down reel. They have a special teams reel. They have a deep reel. They have a curls reel. They have a draw reel, which the Patriots run a ton too. So they're just watching specific plays over and over and trying to get the formations and how they run these draw plays and how they run these certain plays. And it's just like, you got to switch it up. You got to do better than that. I don't think it's exactly a play calling problem. Maybe it was just kind of, this is what the defense is giving us, steer into the skid. But it makes me worried. You got to run an actual offense.
Yeah. You got to. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they need to. I don't know if they need to just be more creative with it. Like you said, the defense are going to be staying up late watching these games, trying to game plan against them. What I would say to them, I think if you're going to be staying up that late, Liam, I think you probably need a little bit of energy, right, in order to kind of stay up that late and keep going, right?
I usually have to.
Normally, right? So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, Tuck Rule Takes, we have a brand new sponsor. Brand new sponsor. I wish we had some sort of alarms, some sort of wee-oo. We have a new sponsor, guys. Coach Guy Sports, Tuck Rule Takes. We are sponsored by Shocked Energy. Shocked Energy. I don't know if you know what it is. I know what it is. I'm going to tell you. Liam just looked shocked. You know why? Because he's pumped that we have Shocked Energy on our side. Shocked Energy is a drink made by gamers, for podcasters, for everybody. All their flavors come packed with 180 milligrams of caffeine to ensure that no matter what you're doing, all your focus will be razor sharp, laser focused, like our ex-GOAT quarterback used to say, to keep performing at the top of your game. Their formulas are designed to specifically give you high energy boost when you need it the most, ensuring to avoid all the jitters and everything that happens when you have it. I'm a big caffeine energy drink addict.
Yeah,
I don't like the jitters. Yeah, I don't like it. So Shocked does not have them. I actually just got a bunch of them. I recommend you go get them too. How do you get them, Liam? I'll tell you. You go to shockedenergy.com, use the promo code CGSN. That's Coach Guy Sports Network, CGSN, today for 10% off your order. Green apple flavored and watermelon. Those are my 2 favorite flavors there. They do come in a box as well, so you get a bunch of them. And don't worry, they do ship worldwide, so no matter where you are, you can get it. Get your Shocked Energy today. Let us help you gain focus and get that energy back. Liam, a part of the Patriots that brought some energy for me. How about this defense, buddy? What do you think?
We're back. After that one atrocious defensive game
back
against the Saints, I knew, and I was explaining this to some guy that I saw earlier, there's so much variety week to week. You cannot expect the days are gone of the 2000 Ravens where for a 16-game season, they're just going to lock it down on defense all game, every game. Defenses aren't good like that. The modern game is tailored completely to the offense. So there's going to be, no matter what, there's going to be one shootout. There's going to be one where the defense doesn't do shit and it's just all offense across the board. And those are the most entertaining games for fans. So I was so happy to see us get back to our roots. And, dude, I feel like we talk about it every goddamn show. But how about Matthew Judon?
Top 5 free agent signing ever by Bill Belichick, I would say.
How about league-wise? What are we thinking as hit for him in the league's best pass rushers? Because I thought Chandler Jones was going to solidify his number 5 spot as the pass rusher in this league. Has not had a sack since his 5-sack first game. So I immediately spring Matthew Judon into my top 5 pass rushers this year. His numbers Sacks are good, not great. His pressures, his impact on the game is rare to see. And I watched the early 2000s Patriots where it was Richard Seymour, Adalys Thomas. They had the dogs getting after the quarterback. And there are a few with the dog-like spirit that Matthew Judon has. I mean, 4 tackles, 3 assisted tackles, and a sack, and multiple pressures. I think I saw it earlier. I do not have it in my notes, which is actually really annoying me. I think he had 9 pressures, which I thought was fucking.
He did. Yep. He had 9. The next was what's his name? Barmore with 2.
Absolutely ridiculous. That is 9 plays that he completely took away. Whatever they were doing, they had to. It was a scramble. Whether they, got a completion, got a first down, or had a good run on that play. I'd have to go back and look at every single play.
Yeah.
But that means he blew up a play.
Yeah.
And that means they had to change something.
Yeah, they had to chokehold. If you look, he got I forget who was blocking him, but they got called for hands in the face. It wasn't hands in the face. The dude had him in a rear naked choke. He was trying to shot. And then there was another play that didn't get called, that he was getting choked even worse, held even worse, and they didn't call it, which, I'm not going to sit here and bitch about flags. That's not what I'm going to do at all. But, it's just like you said, he is disrupting. It seems like at least a couple plays a drive. He's disrupting, whether he's getting back there, whether he's taking on blockers and freeing people up, or honestly, where it always seems, he's just pushing the guy right back into when he sacked Brady. I think it was the first or second drive or something. He sacked him, and you could tell that he said some shit to Brady because Brady kind of like pushed him off, and I was like, "Oh, you fucking get him, Judon." I love Matt Judon. I love him in his red sleeves.
I already ordered a jersey. This dude all week, and we pointed out last week, was pissed about the only thing they're talking about is Tom Brady. They're not talking about the Patriots. If they do talk about the Patriots, how are you going to stop Tom Brady? How are you going to avoid him throwing 5 touchdowns on you? And Judon's just like, I'm not worried about any of that. I have no concern. I don't think Brady's doing anything. And I was just like, this man has supreme confidence. At 6'3", 275 pounds, this dude manhandles offensive linemen.
He throws them around.
Yeah, they can take out a lawsuit for the terrible assault that he puts on offensive tackles weekly. It is so crazy, and Bill's defense is perfect. Yep. They move them from the inside out, just like the Texans used to do with J.J. Watt. Mm-hmm. They have them all along the line, so you cannot specifically scheme to block this guy. If DeMarcus Ware used to be one of the best rushers in the league, they started putting other tight ends on that side. They started putting running backs in the backfield. They would commit 3 guys to him because they knew he was always coming off the right edge. Judon, you cannot stop him. He moves in the middle. He moves outside. He's all over the offensive line, switching sides, and it's just hell, absolute hell. If I'm at the line of scrimmage and I see this diesel of a man, like steam coming out of his nose, probably growling and making noises, I'm just standing across like, somebody help. Block him.
He pushed the left tackle into the running back on the sack of Brady. Yes. He had the left tackle. The running back came to try to chip him. He was like, nope, push them both out of the way.
It's embarrassing. And these guys train their whole lives to stop him for 5 seconds. All they need, 5 seconds is a lot of time.
A lot of time.
And that's all they're trying to do. They cannot do it.
No, it's Matt Judon is. I mean, we've said it enough, and I'm going to keep saying it till it's not true. He is going to be the Patriots' defensive MVP. There's no way he's not going to be, unless he takes a massive drop off, which I don't see happening. Because honestly, he's getting better and better, as far as I'm concerned. Watching him play, he's getting better and better. Another guy that's getting better and better that no one, I think, was kind of an underappreciated signing. You might have heard of him because he came from your fucking Philly trash team. The Green Goblin himself, loved the nickname. Jalen Mills. He has been getting better and better each week.
A huge relief to me because he struggled mightily for the Eagles.
Yep.
And
I remember.
That was the biggest knock early, and maybe call it the first couple of years like jitters. Playing corner is a horribly difficult position, and he was a corner for the Eagles. We moved him to safety, and we play him at that weird, what Brian Urlacher made in college where it's like a linebacker. They call it strong safety, but it's not. It's like basically a linebacker, but he intercepts, he drops into pass coverage, he rushes and stops the run. But he can he's an extremely solid heads-up player, and I just think everything that Bill gave him, he's just taking it all in. Bill goes, all right, you struggled in one-on-one coverage with the Eagles. Your zone defense for the Eagles on the outside was piss poor, but I noticed when they're cutting inside, when they're running slants, when they're running the inside curls, you're much better. So now they just moved him to the safety position. They have him hovering the middle, and he is not afraid to tackle either. That's like his big thing. He's the Green Goblin, like he likes to take people out, and he does. And
He hits.
Yeah, and as a corner, that's all you can ask, because most corners, when somebody gets outside, a running back gets on the outside, they're like just hoping they can shoestring tackle him, not this guy.
That's honestly, if you're looking at the whole Patriots team, because I kind of want to give a shout out to the whole defense, because like I said, there's not with this team, there's not much that I'm upset about, because I think it was just a game where, you had a good game. Of course, there were mistakes. There was the J.J. Taylor fumble. There were a couple things, but it was just a game you lost. Back to the corners with Jalen Mills, J.C. Jackson, Jonathan Jones. They are not afraid to tackle. Every single one of them. In fact, when Jonathan Jones went out, that's when Tom Brady started to attack Justin Bethel, who is a special teamer, but you had to bring him in. That's when Brady started to attack him and move down the field. I don't know if the game's different if Jones stays in, because he was not shutting down, but he was taking care of AB. You had J.C. Jackson taking care of Evans or Godwin. You had Jalen Mills switching on him too. Adrian Phillips, by the way, I don't know if there's someone in the league I would rather get hit by less than him. He is a beast. You have McCourty, who's still doing his thing out there. I am fucking in love with this defense. And guess what, guys? You still don't have your third-round pick, Ronnie Perkins from Alabama, who by all the scuttlebutt and all that, he's going to be pretty good. And guess what? You have a former defensive player of the year coming back in a couple weeks in Stephon Gilmore. That is another reason why I'm not worried about this team long term. I just need you to take care of business until that time. Take care of next week, take care of the week after, and then go from there. This defense is fucking incredible. I don't care what anybody says.
And I think that's just a harp on Bill Belichick and how good his defense is, because the defense has always worked great as a unit. The only time I ever really had concerns was, I think it was 2014 when we lost in week 1 to the Arizona Cardinals on a field goal, and then we lost the game after that, and the defense just looked terrible. John Skelton had like 300 yards.
John Skelton.
Dude's terrible. And the Patriots defense just wasn't working well. But for the most part, Bill's a very plug-and-play type of guy. Justin Bethel comes in. You got to do the exact same thing as the Jones who left. And it's just he must build an extremely easy-to-grasp scheme for these guys, because they all seem to work as a unit perfectly. It's like the old saying, no force formed against us shall prosper. And that's what this defense is. They work as one unit. Yes, Judon stands out. Yes, I particularly love Dante Hightower. Yes, Devin McCourty is one of the most underrated safeties in the league. But those are just a few stars back and forth. We stopped the defending Super Bowl champions on most plays with guys like Jonathan Jones, with guys coming in like Justin Bethel, like a very cast of unspectacular names. Carl Davis, who's not a particularly good defensive lineman in my opinion. And overall, though, like, this team was just – Adrian Phillips is another no-name guy, kind of role player coming over and playing extremely well. Had a pick 2 weeks ago. Kyle Duggar, we drafted him out of Illinois.
Love Kyle Duggar. I love Kyle Duggar.
Some random school. I remember when they took him, I was kind of pissed too. I was like, really? We draft this guy out of Lenore Ryan in the first round? Dude hits. He hits.
That's all he does.
Yeah, 6 tackles. I would love to see his coverage get a little better, but again, he kind of plays the Jalen Mills, Adrian Phillips role where he's like just a hitting safety.
He's going to be Patrick Chung, I think. He's going to, I mean, first of all, Chung gave him his number. I think he's going to be Chung in the sense where he's not going to be great at covering. He's going to get better as he goes on, but he's not going to be afraid to get in there. There's a play. I wish I could pull it up. He threw aside a lineman and tackled Fournette at the line.
Yeah.
Like he's
beefy.
Oh, it's incredible. This entire defense held Tom Brady to the lowest completion percentage he's had on the Bucs in a year and a half. 51.2, I think, or something like that.
That's crazy because
So,
he's been shut out twice on the Bucs.
exactly. You can't tell me that this defense is getting pushed or that like that's just I see people saying, oh, this team is an embarrassment, they lost to these people, Belichick should be upset, and don't worry, we're going to talk about that because I think we're getting to the end. We're going to talk about that, but people saying Belichick should be embarrassed by this team should be embarrassed. What are you talking about? You have a rookie quarterback who shoddy offensive line. I'm not making excuses, I'm just laying out what the game board looks like. You have a bunch of new pieces and you're 1-3. Not a great record, but very, very winnable games. No game should they feel embarrassed, except maybe the Saints game. Yeah, just a little bit. But even then, you were still within a score until the defense let up a 75-yard drive. I think that to say, if you think that this team should be embarrassed by anything, I think you need to change how you watch the game, because I think you're watching it through some negative lenses. Because, of course, I'm not saying it's all rose-colored glasses and everything like that, but you gotta take the good with what you're getting here. You know what I mean? And one thing I wanted to talk about real quick. I don't know who the referee was, who this fucking zebra was. But if you ever call unsportsmanlike conduct against Matthew fucking Slater, I don't think there's anybody in the league that's more sportsmanlike than Matthew Slater, sir. You dodo dunce. Listen, I understand that he didn't run immediately back in. I don't know if you saw the quotes afterwards. I saw him today before I came on. He said that, there's normally, it's not a gray area. It's not anything like that, but there's normally some leeway that you get. And I'm sorry, I'm going to take Matthew Slater's word for it, because I think he even said, he's like, I think I've seen more special team snaps than any of those refs, which guess what? He had. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame as a special teamer. He's one of the greatest special teamers ever. In fact, the Patriots have probably 2 of the 5 best gunners in the league right now with Bethel and Slater. That shit, it's kind of one of those things where I don't always like to question the refs, but I tend to lean towards, like, I think Matthew Slater knew what he was doing. And again, if you watch the play, he doesn't immediately get back in. But if you listen to him explain it afterwards, seems like he had a point. But again, it's one of those judgment calls, which is what he said at the end of the day. He's like, listen, it's a judgment call. It is what it is, blah, blah, blah. He knows the rules, whatever. I just wanted to point that out because that negated a turnover that probably would have ended the game.
He laid the wood on that dude.
Yeah.
And it was just, unfortunately, I think he was in the wrong here. It's just one of those things where it's going to get called every time. Special teamers, you have a very limited job. It's not like the quarterback where you have a lot of things to handle. It's not like the running back where you have all these different dimensions to it. You're kind of just running down and tackling the dude. You have contain, obviously, so don't let him go outside of you. But you're staying on the outside, trying to make him go up the middle into the big group of guys. And you're there to make the tackle above anyone else or force them up middle. And it's just, if you get pushed out of bounds, you have to immediately fight back in. And I feel for the dude because everyone knows, like you said, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. They had 2 guys just tossing him out of bounds, just right on him. He got the old Calvin Johnson treatment in the red zone. Just 2 guys who are immediately like, don't do anything, don't move, I'm going to stop. And they're just kind of like right there. And I totally feel for him. But, dude, sell it. Maybe,
Yeah, he didn't sell it at all.
Try and pretend like they're, doing something wrong, that they're pushing you a little too hard. Hell, trip over somebody on the sideline, like fucking fall and try and sell like that they pushed you into somebody or something like that. You can do a lot better. And if you are a wily vet at this point, where he has done this for so many years, for so many Super Bowl teams and so many contending teams, that it's like that, this is a big game. You should know the tricks of the trade by this point, where, hell, if this is happening, throw up your hands, fall backwards, get a penalty, or cut back around all of them. He should know these tricks that I don't know because I never played special teams, and I certainly haven't played it as long as him. I'm not a professional at it. But I'm just disappointed he didn't know the situation better.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, did he know better? Yeah, but maybe since he's been around so long, maybe he was doing it better. I don't know.
He went down and laid him out and forced a fumble. Absolutely did his job. killing it. Another one of those Matthew Slater plays where you're just like, this dude changes the game. Unfortunately, he just didn't get the call this time. He wasn't in the right here.
No, yeah, and again, he said it himself. You know, it was one of those judgment things. You know, He thinks he's in the right. Clearly, when they showed the replay, it was kind of like, he didn't try to get back in as much as he could have. You know, I do want a quick disclaimer. Everybody watched on YouTube. That's on me. Liam, guess what? I didn't have it on gallery view. It was on speaker view. Whatever, man. You know, whatever. Because then you know what you can do? You can focus on one person talking at once. Now, what do you got? You got both Tuck Rule guys coming at you at once. Now what? Now what do you do? I don't know what you do. I can't tell you what to do. I've never had two guys coming at me at once. Anyway, we are gonna. It always gets sexual.
Always.
All right, Liam. We got to address the we got to address the elephant in the room. This is the last thing that I want to talk about with the game. If you have anything else afterwards, by all means, we can. 59 seconds left. 4th and 3. First of all, I don't want anybody to say it was in a monsoon. I checked with multiple people who were at the game. It was just rain. Of course, it was a little windy, but I don't think someone must have said monsoon and then everybody latched onto it. It was not a monsoon. It was just raining. Again, not saying it was the best conditions. I kind of want to get my point out there, see where you land on this.
By all means.
Neither one of these decisions are great. It's 4th and 3. It is still raining. Even if you get the first down, there's still no sure chance that you're going to go down there and score it anyway. Belichick's mind, if I could kind of think about it, which is what he said in the post game, where he was either this morning, last night, whatever. They only made 2 third downs, completed 2 out of 9 on third downs for the game. Maybe he didn't have as much confidence. I don't think it was really a confidence thing, though. I think it was just, listen, 56 yards. Folk was nailing them from 58 in pregame. When it was raining, by the way, still in pregame. You can get points and possibly win. I think that I don't know if it's the right – see, no, fuck that. It was the right decision because in my eyes, the kick was long enough. He missed it by a foot. I get that, why didn't you go for it? But roles reverse. Say he goes for it, they don't get it. You know what everybody would be saying? Why wouldn't you let Nick Folk get it? The dude's been on fire. Your all-pro kicker, your Pro Bowl kicker's been kicking it. He proved he can.
Was it 34 straight makes or something like that?
34 straight, yeah, something like that. It's like, see, and that's the thing. I get that it would have tied his career long or whatever, but again, that's why you kick pregame. He was hitting almost 60 pregame in the rain against the wind, I think it was. So, or with whatever the fuck it was, I don't care. All the things I've seen. It's the whole percentage of, the win percentage, the success rate. None of it's more than a 10% difference. So at the end of the day, we're really splitting here. It goes from 32 or 33% to 42% if they went for 4. I don't even know about that either, because then, you don't take into account emotion, momentum, things like that.
I always hate the advanced numbers.
So, at the end of the day, Belichick made a decision. In my eyes, it's similar to do we take our timeouts before the 2-minute warning or afterwards? What do you want to do? There's pros and cons to both. I think Belichick made the right decision with what he could do. And I think Folk almost hitting it proves that he kind of made the right decision. Listen, you didn't get it. Folk's been immaculate since he's been on the Pats. He just missed this kick. That's it. That's my take on it. I don't think Belichick should be embarrassed. I don't think Belichick cost this team a win, because other than that, Belichick put on a masterclass or as close as he could in coaching on Sunday night. So what do you think? That's my thought. It's a very, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's a right or wrong decision. I think he just took what he felt was right, and it just didn't work out. That's what happens at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's almost a lose-lose situation in that sense. I don't know. I kick the tires on all the ideas here, and I kind of struggle to even know which one I definitively think is the good answer, because I totally get it. The 34 straight makes, he was crushing it, but I got off the plane from what was 90-degree and sunny weather to Boston weather, which it was raining, it was cold, it was shitty. It's not ideal for anything. And hell, we kicked a game-winning field goal against the Raiders to go to the Super Bowl from Adam Vinatieri. So maybe that was kind of caught in Bill's head. We can get another iconic elements kick. Mm-hmm. But I don't like it. I think 4th and 3 is something you got to go for in this game, because if they get it, it's an ultimate defeat for the defense. And this defense hadn't been able to stop them for the most part throughout the game. I really struggle because it's 4th and 3. It's not a lot. I don't trust their run to us to run the ball and get it. I think maybe we could have surprised them and like got the first run of the night there, but even then I don't particularly trust it. But Mac has been immaculate throwing within 5 yards. It seems super easy. And Bill specializes in running those goal line, those need like 2 yards, have 2 wide receivers go out and run a route. Technically they're blocking, and then just have someone slip out into the flat and throw it to them there. We saw it in the Falcons Super Bowl with Danny Amendola, had 2-point conversions, doing plays just like that, where you need 2, 3, 1 yard. You just whip it out there and let the guys make a play. And hell, I think Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, and Kendrick Bourne all have exceptional open field ability where they can make a guy miss. Nelly and Jacoby slightly more than Bourne. He's more of a possession receiver. But I trust all those guys to get they're huge. Just fall forward for it.
Hunter Henry, just kind of do a quick 4-yard stop.
Any of those, and we have been exploiting the tight ends over the middle there. But I just think if you get that 4th and 3, it's an instant momentum killer. This team's defeated. Whether we can go in and get a closer field goal or score, I think you're far more likely to score. We kicked this and there was a minute left on the game. So that's plenty of time to do some damage when you're basically in the red zone there. So I struggle there. I think they totally should have went for it. It's a very gray area, and I'm even doubting myself.
We needed, what I think? I actually just thought of this. Do you know? And I hate to bring him up because it's a touchy subject. I think this game missed James White for that reason. I think if James White is in the game, I think maybe Bill thinks about it a little bit more, because on those third downs, James White reminds me of the Kevin Falk type, where it's always he would go out and kind of catch the little, the quick little passes. I don't know, but I mean, you got to think James White would have made him think a little bit more about it. I don't know. Again, like you said, though, I don't feel super strongly one way or another, because I think at the end of the day, both of the decisions, there's risk. I think there's a little more risk with kicking it because you're kicking, but there's this about the same amount of risk each thing. It's kind of, I don't know. It's just like, it's almost like at the beginning of games, you can question everything. It's like, hey, why did you defer the ball? Because now Brady scored first and then it turned into that. That didn't happen. I'm just saying hypothetically. It's one of those things where, I don't know, if he makes the kick, I still think the defense can stop Brady because they pretty much shut him down the whole game. So I'm not worried about that. People saying, oh, a minute left is too much time for Brady. Not against this defense, though, for being honest. If we're being very brutally honest, let's stop with that, because Belichick figured out how to coach against Brady, which, I mean, if anybody was going to do it, we said it would have been him.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know. I feel kind of like you. You can convince me one way or another. I'm not going to be mad at whatever argument you make.
There's too many elements to this for me to have a definitive decision, because if our offense was killing it, we were converting every 3rd and 4th down, then there's not a doubt in my mind, don't kick that fucking field goal.
Nope.
But there was a lot of times, and I'm going to bring this up when we talk about like our quarter season, I think that we had the lead, I think it was 2 times, and maybe it was 3 drives where we could have went down and built on our 2-point lead at the time, or 1-point lead, whatever it was. We could have built on our lead and just constant 3-and-outs. Weren't getting the first down, and just quickly off the field, and they were getting back on. We were just trading punts back and forth. Like the offense on either end wasn't working. Maybe it's a product of the weather, but we just couldn't build on a lead. This wouldn't have even been a problem if we just could have got one more score in the like 5 3-and-outs that we had in between. So that's why my confidence wavers. But then there's Nick Folk, who's 36 years old, kicking in the rain. Yes, he had a great streak, but let's remember the intangibles here. He is old. He's not the first kicker that I want on this team. Like, he's not a top kicker in the league, in my opinion.
Not anymore, no.
And even like before this, like there are a lot of kickers that I'd rather have than Nick Folk. I like the dude. He's super reliable, and I'm a huge fan. Like if he hits a game winner for us, that's totally cool. But like I recognize what it is. He's 36 years old. He's been in the league forever. He's not an Adam Vinatieri type where he's going to be playing till he's 45 years old and be super efficient. I think this dude's out of the league in 2-3 years. You got to know the situation. I would go for the momentum shift more than the chance of going for a deep win.
Yeah, and again, see, that's why like I'm not even gonna try to argue a different point because, like I said, I gave my opinion, but I get yours makes sense too. Like, I don't think there's any right or wrong option. It's just kind of what you would rather put your risk in. What you would rather do your thing with, and it's like at the end of the day, Belichick made a decision, kicked it, doinked it off the left upright. One more foot to the right, we're not even talking about this. We're talking about how the Patriots pulled off a big upset. They beat the Bucs. They're 2-2. They're going into all that fun stuff. It's kind of, and I think that's one of the things where I think as Patriots fans, you mentioned before where it's like, you see, you're used to these games, going down, they're trying to build on the lead, all that stuff. I think we have to, and I'm starting to realize this myself, you have to kind of recalibrate because I think we're so used to the last 20 years, the offense doing that. I don't think we're there yet. I think eventually we will get there, but it's just, it's different. It's different to be a Patriots fan right now, and I'm not going to sit there and do the woe is me, but again, kind of woe is me because, you're so used to a certain level of production and now it's a little different. Things are going to look a little different. You're not going to get, third down conversions all the time, but I think that you can still see flashes of that with the team, which is why, kind of you mentioned, before we kind of give our prediction for the Texans game, which I promise you guys are going to be very, very quick. I do want to kind of give out our little quarterly grades, even though it's not quarterly because Roger Goodell fucked up the symmetry of the NFL season because he's a dickhead. He's a spineless little orange bum.
What do you expect from a dude whose wife has 2 cell phones?
Yeah. You know what? God, he's probably paying for the other stuff. I don't want to get into it. I don't like Goodell, obviously. Now with everything that's going on, give me kind of your grade review real quick for the season. I don't know how you want to do it. We can really do it however you want. You can pick one thing to talk about. You can give grades to each phase, whatever you want to do. Just an overall grade. I will follow your lead. However you want to grade this.
So I think overall my grade for early is hell. We're fucking 1-3, so it's not going to be great. I think I have us at hovering between a C and a C plus. There's a lot of great things. We have no problem putting up points. Now we're getting the tight end involved. The defense is obviously for the most part great. I just get worried about all the 3 and outs that we had in the Bucs game that didn't win us the game.
Yep.
All the fact that our defense couldn't stop the Saints on one drive that could have changed the game. It's just all the little things, the intangibles where this team had chances to have a better record than this, and they just kind of blew it.
Yep.
So I have to say it's between a C and a C plus. It's not a good start to the season. I think there's still time for them to turn it around. But for me, the season is already extremely suspect in my opinion, and it is nothing that I thought it was. Hell, if we do not win a lot of games, I probably wouldn't be that surprised anymore. And I hate to say it.
Oh, come on. No, I get it, though.
I really do, though. It's just this team hasn't given me a whole lot of reason to have confidence. Yes, we destroyed the Jets. But we didn't score a fat point total. We didn't drop 40 on them. We won that game off mostly long runs and rushing touchdowns and kind of the Jets being the Jets and turning the ball over so much.
Yep.
In this, we couldn't really exploit the biggest weakness of the defense, which was the terrible secondary. Yes, he had 2 passing touchdowns, but it's also there was a lot of other times where he didn't have success against this awful, awful defense. Mm-hmm. And call me a prisoner of the moment. Maybe I'm too captivated by the 2020 vision here. I'm worried. I'm worried that I don't want another losing season.
Yeah, and I sense your worry. I can see it in I can see it in your face. I can hear it in your voice. And if you think I'm not copying you, you can, like I said, take a look. Coach Guy Sports. My overall grade for the season, I gave him a C plus. Reason being, like you said, at the end of the day, I have to. You are still somewhat what your record says you are. You're 1-3. I get you could have beat Miami. If Harris doesn't fumble, you probably beat Miami. The Saints game, okay, whatever. We'll call that a loss. It is what it is. You could have beat the Bucs. Think about it. If they make that field goal, they go for it on fourth, they get it, whatever it is. You could easily be 3-1. But again, you're not. You're 1-3. C plus is my thing. I think. And again, I'm putting stock into it. This team is growing together. I think they're going to get better as they go. The next 3 games, you have the Texans, the Cowboys, and the Jets. Those are 3 winnable games. I think if you win those 3 games, you're back to 4-3. And then you go on a couple of tougher games. You got the Chargers, the Panthers, and the Browns, which I do still think you pull out 1, maybe 2 of those. I think you definitely lose one of them. So I think that's why I'm still optimistic on the season. Because like you said, I know you say you didn't want a losing record. I'm not even really – I don't call it just kind of me thinking of like past teams or anything, but I'm also just thinking of what this team looks like. Kind of looking at the schedule too. I don't think – because I think you beat the Dolphins if you play them again. You beat the Jets. I think you beat the Cowboys and the Texans. I think you take 1 from the Bills at least. The Bills are going to beat you one time because, they're just good teams. So, I don't think – I think you make it in the playoffs as a wild card, and then at that point – whatever happens. I have no crazy expectations at that point. My expectations are getting to the playoffs. That's what
about this team even instills that confidence in you? Because hell, we should have buried Tom Brady in the Bucs. We should have had at least 1 more touchdown, maybe 2. And hell, maybe one of those was because of J.J. Taylor's fumble. But a lot of opportunities were missed by Mac too. And with the defense doing the best it can, we're going to win some games. The defense is going to help us win plenty of games. But they, like I said, it's a modern league. They cannot be good every single game. And I would bet there's going to be 2, maybe 3 more games where they're just not good, aren't really a factor. So there's just been nothing that I've seen from this team that really tells me they're going to even make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, like you said, you brought up the defense. Defense to me, that's really going to be your force there. Yeah. Just from what I've seen with Mac Jones and kind of like how everybody talks about him, it all kind of jives together. I think that he's just progressing. He's gonna make the better decision more often than not. And I think that those bad decisions, like we brought up, the throwing across your body, maybe picking the wrong read, whatever it is, I just think, and again, call it maybe just me having too much faith in Belichick or the coaching. I just think that he's going to get a little better. He's going to continue to progress. I fucking refuse to think that the offensive line is going to continue to be this bad. So that's a strong point for why this could turn around once we get our stud left tackle back. Exactly. And again, I'm not saying because, I'm kind of looking at the schedule. You do play the Titans, although Titans just lost to the Jets. I know they had a lot of injuries, but still, Titans lost to the Jets. That's still a loss. The Colts, they're kind of up and down. I think you can pull one out against them. The Jaguars, I think you beat them. I think you beat Miami. Like I said, you pull one out against the Bills. You play the Falcons at one point. Yeah, the Falcons should a win. So again, if you kind of start to add those up, that's a 11-6 team. 11-6, 10-7. Does 10-7 get you in the playoffs? Does 11-6? It might. At the very least, you're going to be fighting for it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to come down to tiebreakers. That's why I think you got to beat Miami. You got to beat the Jets twice. That's why I think that they're going to make the playoffs. It's strictly, I don't think that the worst parts of this team is going to stay bad. And I think that even if you bring the offensive line to being a little above average, even if you bring the running game back, because think about it, once the running game gets going, the play action is going to open up. That's when your deep passes, I think, are going to open up. Yeah. Again, it's one of those, I'm obviously projecting what I think is going to happen, but that's what we're doing. So I think the hopeless romantic in you is coming out a little bit too much. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, a little bit. Again, I'm also, like I said, I'm looking at the record. Who we're playing moving forward is a big part too. Yeah. So I think just strictly that, I think that you are at the very least, you are in position in the last few weeks to make to make the playoffs. And I mean, you do play the Dolphins at the end of the year. What if that game right there is going to decide who gets into the wild card or not?
And then hell, I'll have faith because I think the Patriots have a better chance than the Dolphins. So maybe my opinion will change come week 8. I just think even hell, if it's a close game it won't be a close game against the Cowboys, but if it's a close game against the Panthers or hell, maybe even the Falcons, it's a close game. This team just doesn't seem like it can capitalize on the opportunity to win a close game, and I haven't seen it yet. And I think that's something that happens as a team grows. So maybe they get better as the season goes on and we win a couple close ones toward the end. Maybe the Colts game is tough, We got like 3 weeks left in the season, then maybe that's a tough one and they make a couple big plays, but even the defense, somebody get a pick to shut somebody out. Somebody's going for a game-winning drive, force a fumble, make a play. Yeah. And you can't put it all on the best side of the ball like I am here telling the defense to step up because Mac needs to as well. Yep. Just get first downs. If you get all your first downs in the first quarter of this game, we win this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's – like you said, Mac needs to step up. The defense needs to step up in terms of picking the ball up. I believe Mac is going to step up. How much? I'm not saying he's going to be a step below Tom Brady at the end of the year. That's not it. But I just think he's going to continue to progress. He's going to continue to step up. The offensive line, like I said, they're not going to be this bad the whole year. Defense is just going to get better because, like I mentioned, you're going to have players coming back. I think the running game gets better when the offensive line gets better too. And not even that, the running game is still good. The Bucs have a great defense when it comes to stopping the run, not the pass. I don't know. And then, God forbid the tight ends get more involved. I think that's another thing. I think that's going to start to kind of build over time. It's just tough to watch this because you're so used to, as a Patriots fan, being a shoo-in for the AFC Championship. You are not that this year. So it's tough to recalibrate how you think. You become accustomed to a certain standard of living. Yep. Yeah. I mean, first world problems. Oh, God, we're not going to make the AFC Championship this year. Now, again, could they take a flyer and make it? Things would have to break down perfectly for them, too.
Crazier things have happened.
That's just it, because once you get in the playoffs, think about it. The Pats were about to beat the Dolphins. They fumbled the ball and they lost. What if the Pats are playing, the Browns in the divisional round or something like that, or whatever it happens to be, and Baker throws a pick or fumbles the ball to end or something like that? You never know. So I think you just got to get to the dance. And I think at the very least, at the end of the season, they're going to be fighting for that playoff spot, and I think they get it.
I don't want to sound like a giant negative douchebag here either, saying all this stuff.
Yeah, you are, you fucking asshole.
I know, fuck me. But it's just like, I don't even know exactly where I'm trying to go.
It's tough. That's the thing. It's just tough because, like you said, you haven't seen them win the close games. So you're basing it. See, I think this is the perfect thing. You're basing it off what you've seen, assuming it's going to be kind of the same way. I'm basing it off hopes. I think that they're going to continue to get better because Belichick teams do get better. It's just how much better they're going to get.
Yeah.
I think that's the question.
And in a close game, I have the utmost faith in the Patriots. Like, if it's a close game against all these teams, I'm going to be right there saying we can or will win this. Mm-hmm. And then it all just comes down to if it actually happens, if the players can or if they can be put in the position to succeed and then seize that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it comes down to because that's all you're looking at. You're looking at hopes and what you think is going to happen. And I think so. We both have them at a C+, which, like I said, guys, if you don't think that
leaning more toward a C, but
if you you fucking said C+. If you think that we talked about this beforehand, like I said, go look at Couch Guy Sports. Look at the timestamp. I posted an article long before we did this saying C+. Liam said C+. So we're right in that C+ range if we're gonna do that there, which I think that's a very fair score for this team. Totally. There's a lot of good things to think. There's a lot of good things that are coming. Maybe not even this year. We're talking next year. There's a lot of good things coming down the pipeline, but it's just you gotta take care of business, win these close games, stop fucking fumbling the ball. I want to. Do you have anything else to say about the season before I bring up our final little go home topic?
Pretty sure that covers it.
All right. So next week, the Patriots are playing the Texans in Houston at 1:00. Patriots blow them out.
Yeah.
If the Patriots lose this game, I don't care how they lose it. If it's close, if it's the refs fuck them. If the Patriots lose this game, I will not come in like we're fucking coming into the office. I will show up on the podcast next week. I will paint my face red and write the words "panic" all over it, because
All right.
that is how much confidence I have. There is no way in hell. The Bills just routed the Texans 40-0. I'm not saying you can beat them 40-0 because the Bills are better than you. Let's just face facts right now.
Yep.
I mean, you can beat them 27-10, 27-9. Dude, you're playing Davis Mills. If Davis Mills and his long ass Brachiosaurus neck beats you, you don't even deserve to make the playoffs, to even fight for the playoffs.
So
I think it's a blowout.
What's your score prediction? What's the margin that you're looking for that they need to hit?
27-10. That's my score. It needs to be in. Even if it's off a little bit there, they need to win by 2 scores.
Yeah, see, I had them at 35-21, where it's reasonably out of reach, but it's not like a total ass kicking.
I hope they score 30.
Yeah, I mostly just want to see them put up big points here. They need
just
to crack.
A feel-good game.
Yeah, just go out there. I need Mac to have a near perfect game against a very weak, underwhelming Texans defense.
The whole team.
Yeah, 100%. And that if the whole team's doing well, then I trust Mac will do well and have that baller game that I'm looking for. But David Mills, yes, he's heinous looking. He's a fucking weirdo, and he could probably wrap his neck around anyone here. He's a fucking freak.
He's slender, man.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But he played the Panthers pretty well on Thursday Night Football like 2 weeks ago. Yes, they got crushed by the Bills, but the Bills are a damn good team.
Bills are very good.
I just expect Bill to give the usual, he's a rookie. We're going to rip him apart. We're going to show him looks that he could never even imagine. So,
like he said about Zach Wilson, where he's like, he can make all the throws. He can do this. And what happened? They made Zach Wilson see ghosts.
Yes, 100%. And Zach Wilson now looks great in other games, but he didn't against the Patriots. So I think the defense gives multiple opportunities for the Patriots to score more than 30 points. I don't care what the score is. As long as the Patriots get 30 points, I know they're winning that game. I just need the offense to capitalize on the extra possessions, on the multiple. They're going to force 3 and out on 3 and out on 3 and out. They'll get a pick.
There's no reason for them not to.
So I just need to see the offense capitalize on that, and I'll feel very good. My overall score, is like 35-21.
35-21. Do you think Ramondre Stevenson finally plays?
I would like to see so, but I don't think so. I think he comes in like middle to late in the season just as like a change of pace workhorse back, and he gets filled in there. I think they tried to spring him in there a little early on the season because of his huge preseason, and he just crumbled under the pressure. There's a lot that people don't realize that goes into being a running back. The pass protection, the routes.
Belichick talked about it.
Yep, of course. And just the audibles at the line. Like everyone sees like a broken play every once in a while where the quarterback turns and hands it off and the running back goes the other way and it just looks fucking stupid. There's a lot for those guys to realize. I think he got in there, was trying to do a little too much. He fumbled. Now he's not going to see the field for a while until they know he's absolutely ready. So they're just going to work him at practice, work him in, and then he's eventually going to come in here, and hopefully he'll be much more ready by then.
I agree. I think it's going to be more like that. Even I'll take it a step further. I think it's going to be like Damian Harris's first year. Everybody kind of the same thing that we're saying about Stevenson, we were saying about Harris. Why don't you put him in? Why don't you put him in? What happened? He pretty much redshirted his whole – I think he played like 2 games, 2 snaps or something. And now look, now he I don't give a shit about this last game in the run, okay? I'm not going to judge their whole running offense on this last game. Damian Harris is pretty good in this league as a running back. So I think that's the route Stevenson goes. But again, I don't even want to see you run it that type of running against the Texans. I think you need to – this is one of those games. It is week 5. Everybody knows you say 4 weeks, that's extended preseason. This is week 5. You need to come out. This needs to be a get-right game, like I said. You need to run the ball, throw the ball down their throats, down that long-ass neck. You need to make a statement here. Beat a team that everybody else is beating. That gives you momentum going into the next week against the Cowboys. Hopefully you pull that out. You beat the Jets again, and then, like I said, you're 4-3, and you're right back in the mix. picks.
Yep. This is a big game to decide the season. If they lose, we're probably fucking tanking. If we win.
Oh, I told you, if they lose, I am one of the most optimistic fans.
I'm going to hold you to that, too.
Please
If they lose, I'm waiting for that face paint.
Please do. It is on here, whatever the date is, October 4th. We're recording this right now. It's 9:29 at night. Holy shit, we got to get out of here, guys. I am going to wear a all red mask face. I'll paint my whole fucking body red. Panic all over it.
Going red face.
What? That is how, red face, like, what's his name? Bruce Arians, about 3 minutes into the game.
It'll look like the Red Skull out here with a thick beard.
I fucking will. But yeah, I think we're both on the same page. You're gonna win next week. It's gonna be a feel good game. I know. It was the Texans. I don't give a fuck. Beat the Texans, go into the Cowboys, and then you start rolling for the season. Liam, any other thoughts before we get the hell out of here?
Summed it up perfectly, baby.
Yeah. So I think overall the loss sucked, but good things to take from it. I think there's a lot to be optimistic about, cautiously optimistic. I think that should be everybody's stance going forward. I think you're very cautiously optimistic until they start showing you reasons to think otherwise. So, guys, Pats fans, hang in out there, hang your head up high. You almost beat the Super Bowl champions. You're going to beat the Texans next week. Our next podcast is going to be happy as shit, all right? Unless I come in all red, and at that point, I might not even show up. Yeah. Tuck Rule Takes might end if the Texans win.
It's certainly a possibility because I might not be alive.
I will assassinate you and then myself.
Excellent.
So, everybody, for Liam McDade, I'm Mike Sullivan. This was Tuck Rule Takes. They are us. We are them. We are Tuck Rule. Let's go. See you guys next week. We out.
Miss you, Sweet Feet.
Sweet Feet. I love you, Sweet Feet. I'll see you again soon, baby. Sweet Feet.